coming for you, Michael.
Can't see you yet, Santiago.
Great. You can see me. Why I see you and I see
Oh, now
myself.
we do.
Oh,
Hello.
that's great. That's great. How are you? It's so late here in Spain. I'm so glad to talk with you both. Thank you so much for doing this. I love your careers. I love your work. Thank you so much for doing this. The first thing I want to tell you is that I haven't seen the movie. They haven't let me see the movie yet. So I want to start by asking you, give me a key to understand why this movie is great. Why do you think this movie is great and must be seen?
Go, Judy.
Oh,
Go,
man.
Judy. Come on,
You
Judy.
answer that.
Go, Judy.
Well, obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis. Hello. I mean, this movie is great because we're taking what we started in the last one and we're like having it drink 5-hour energies, and we're like, this is our first story, like on tons of caffeine and Ritalin. It's like really intense. And it's really exciting. And I think that when we were telling this story in Halloween, we were like inviting the fans back and we were reminding them of the trauma and the horror. And now we're like, okay, we got you guys. Now we're gonna like
really mess with you.
We're gonna make it bleed.
What you may not know about the movie is that, you know, obviously the 2018 movie was about Laurie, Laurie's family, and Laurie's trauma. She was the point of focus for Michael Myers, and the brilliant end of the movie, the shot that, you know, I mean, it's spectacular. The end of the movie is so spectacular. This movie talks about collective trauma. It talks about what happens to the other people in the town, not only my family. I mean, obviously the movie centers on my daughter and my granddaughter, because Laurie, as you remember, was seriously, gravely injured with a knife wound. So Laurie is very passive, and it's her daughter and granddaughter who pick up that mantle of protection. But then it also introduces all of the characters in the town who were also traumatized in 1978, but who get galvanized because of what happens in this movie. And it really becomes a movie about mob violence, and it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yes.
Okay, I can't wait to see it. Another thing I love about being interviewing you two at the same time is that you are both great comedians. I love your work, your comedy work, and I was wondering if there's something funny or that you find funny about shooting horror movies that people don't know about. What makes you laugh when you're in a set of a horror movie? Because I'm sure it's something.
I feel like I was laughing the whole time.
I mean, look, it's a weird fucking job.
It's weird.
It's just weird. It's just a weird job.
There's like a bucket, like an orange Home Depot bucket filled with blood, and they have labeled the blood station. And so like before you, like they're like, okay, we're ready to shoot, you have to like walk by the blood station. I remember like dipping our hands in, and then you like let it drip off and like touch yourself and get re-bloodied, and then you like go, and then you're like, oh, I have an itch. Can someone itch like? Because you can't, because you're covered in sticky blood. It's weird.
And it's sticky.
It's so
The other thing is that this fake blood is really sticky. And I mean, kind of, you can get hickeys from it. Like that thing where if your arm is bloody and you put it next to your body and you leave it there for 5 minutes and then you try to pull your arm away, it creates these welts that look like sex bites.
And the only thing that gets it off is shaving cream.
Oh, it's nightmare.
I'm curious now, Jamie, did fake blood change from the first movie to this one?
Oh, of course. I mean, in the first movie, I think it was in a tube.
Yeah, they would like.
I mean, it was
sprinkle
1978. It didn't. If you look at the first movie, and when Laurie gets stabbed on the stairs and then falls over, for the rest of the movie, it's just like it looks like somebody took a red crayon and melted it a little and sort of laid it on my skin. It was hardly special effects makeup. It was literally a tube of movie blood that they squirted, but. You know, it's a big business because it's not just the Halloween movies, but all the horror movies. So obviously, movie blood is now a specialized field. I'm sure you could buy it on Amazon. Yeah. I bet you could probably get quarts of it sent to your house wherever you are in the world.
Probably like recipes on Pinterest.
Yes,
I'm
thank
sure.
you.
I'm sure. Going back to comedy, that's another thing I was thinking while I was researching for this, and it is that comedy never gets life at 100%. There's a comedy in life that there's never in the movies, even if in the best comedies. What do you think horror movies don't get about real fear?
Wow. Your turn.
Oh God. Well, I think you're wrong about
That's
comedy
great.
not getting life. I think that like comedy does get life. I think that life is comedy. It's based on how you look at it. And I think that if you're talking about like a broad comedy, no, that's an intentional tone, but like everything, especially right now, to me, I feel like is equally hilarious and horrifying and so horror, I think when you talk about fear, I mean, the whole reason that the genre exists is because people need an outlet for their fear and their trauma so that they can identify their feelings and they can feel them. Just like when someone plays you a song, they're really telling you how they feel. That was told to me by a therapist once. It's not my own thing.
You know what? Take full credit for it.
Okay, sorry, I made that up. No, but I think then when people are experiencing like a horror or a fear, they can watch a horror movie and they can have an outlet for that, and they can use that to let that out a little bit. So I think that it does get it right.
Also, this movie has a lot to do with mob violence. And mob violence is brutal.
We haven't seen any mob violence since we...
No, I was going to say, and what we saw, particularly in this country on January 6th, was that mob violence is erratic and so complicated and so brutal and so unchoreographed and raw and vicious. There's a viciousness to mob violence that I think would be very hard, no matter what we do in this movie. If you compare that to the footage of the riot at the Capitol, it will not hold up. We tried.
Yeah.
It's controlled and blah, blah, blah. And there are moments that do reach that sort of level. But I agree with you in that sense that random acts of violence that we see then somehow caught on a camera almost never can match the violence that we then recreate. But we're movies. We're not life.
No.
We are a movie, and we are trying
We're giving an outlet for it.
Yeah.
But we're not creating it, and the creation of it is like truly terrifying.
Truly.
That makes complete sense. I want to ask Jamie one question to you. Because I saw one interview. But I'll be back to Judy in a second. I saw a talk between you and Lady Gaga, where you said, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, that you are less interested in playing other people, that you are more interested now in connecting with yourself or being yourself somehow. And I was wondering, when you play this character, when you play Laurie, how close are you to that goal, to play yourself?
Well, I think what my point was simply that I'm really happy with who I am now at 63 years old. So that my interest in shedding me to allow a whole other person in is just less interesting to me. I do it. I'm happy to do it. It's just not my driving force. When I was younger and I didn't have a self, I couldn't wait to put on the costume of someone else because that gave me confidence. Now it's kind of a flip. I'm actually now way happier being me, and it's harder for me now to give it all up because you have to become empty and sort of invisible to be able to bring on another person. So I think that's what my point was. That was quite a long time ago, but I think that was what my point was.
What was Lady Gaga like? Oh my God.
It was interesting. It was, obviously we had never met, and it was one of those
Yes,
actors.
let's talk about Lady Gaga. Why not?
Sorry. I'll ask you later. Oh my God.
No, because I just have 4 minutes and I want to ask you about.
Okay, do your thing, baby.
I owe you your 4 minutes.
I find another connection between you that I find interesting is that Jamie, you've said that you don't like doing late night shows, and Judy, you have done a lot of late night shows. So can Jamie tell Judy why she doesn't like late night shows, and can Judy tell Jamie why she should like late night shows?
I'm going to not even let you make that your last question, because I don't think you have it right. The truth is, I don't stay up late.
Okay.
I go to bed at 7. So for me,
She
staying up to go to dinner is a problem.
Okay.
I think you're talking about like talk shows, late night talk shows, but
Yes.
you shoot
Yes.
those.
Doing them.
Yeah, but you shoot those
At like 4.
at 4 in the afternoon. So you don't shoot them late at night. So I think don't make
I-
that your last question. You still have a last question. Go back to your
Okay,
last
okay.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you got? No pressure.
I don't have a great
Lady
last. I
Gaga.
thought it was the great last question.
Wow.
So let's go with this one. For both of you, what are the secrets to perform a nice scream in front of the camera? A nice scream in a horror movie. Why
God.
what do you think the secrets are? Thank you. That makes me feel good. That reaction is what I was looking for.
I don't know, because I think you have to, like, it makes you feel very vulnerable to scream in front of people for some reason. And that was something I didn't anticipate, was like having a room full of a crew, like having to actually like scream is weirdly scary. It made me feel very vulnerable. Like I felt like, you know, I didn't anticipate feeling that way, and then I did.
You don't practice it.
No.
It's not something people practice. You go to acting school, they don't do.
If you scream, they'll tell you that's too much. No one would ever do
it's
that.
not. So it's supposed to be a reaction, a true reaction to something terrifying. And it's just hopefully something most of us don't ever have to do in our lives.
I know.
So it is, as Judy said beautifully, it is an incredibly vulnerable moment.
Yeah. Because you cry a lot.
Because people are like, come on, give us a scream. And it's like,
No.
you don't get it.
You give us a scream.
Like, you don't understand. It's actually scary what's happening.
Yes.
And I just think it's trivialized. Not that you trivialized it, but
No.
that
No,
the
but
truth
I
is
understand.
that in order for it to be compelling, it has to be real. And if it's real, that means it's something traumatic is happening.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you, very vulnerable making.
This weird, like I cry a lot in my own life, but I don't scream like murder in my own life.
You
ever.
never scream.
So you don't even know what's going to come out until you do it.
Okay,
we have a weird job.
okay. So and now to end, before they let me go, how is Lady Gaga, please, Mr. Jamie
She
Lee
was
Curtis?
lovely. We had a very nice chat, and obviously,
Thank you.
I think I probably said things inappropriate to her about things. It was all fine. It was good. I've never
Impossible.
seen her again.
Everyone loves you.
I never saw her again.
Never seen her once, so
I had never seen her before, but I've never seen her again.
I have-
but she was lovely
I have
and
to
we had
le-
a nice time.
I have to leave you. You are amazing. Thank you so much for this
Thank
15
you.
minutes.
Bye-bye.
Congrats. Bye.
Thank you.
Have fun.